This is The Back Pass, a podcast for sports nerds by sports nerds.
This week, we look ahead to the T20 Cricket World Cup. In Australia, we run through the qualified teams, underline qualified, the format, and who looks like the early favourites. Hello and welcome to The Back Pass. I'm your host, Ali Milwala, and with me here today, I have Shivank, Kevin. Kevin's not going to be here today. I think he might have failed a qualifier against Namibia. And we have Sid, and joining us again is Bhavesh. Welcome, guys.
You mean Namibia?
Hello. Good to be back.
Kevin really needed to win his qualifiers to prevent Bhavesh from making it today. I can't believe he's stumbled on the final block.
I got myself a wildcard entry. Probably on account of me being Indian, and ICC says that plays well with the audiences.
Plus, we need all the support before a tournament.
Yeah,
It's all about the money, Bhavesh.
Yeah, that's right. We bring the money, we bring the crowds. Just give us every World Cup already. Why do we have to play for it?
Yeah, I know.
The Namibia Sri Lanka game does throw up that part of this World Cup and part of the T20 game. The whole attraction is that on your day, any team can really cause an upset because you just need a couple players off or a couple players couple of bowlers who just bowl 3 good balls, and suddenly a team is in complete disarray, and you've got yourself a win. And that kind of makes it more exciting to watch the rest of the games.
Yeah, I mean, look, from a cricketing perspective, I think it's a great result. We always want to see the upset, but no one thought the upset will actually come pretty quickly in the first game of the World Cup, right? I think Sri Lanka were just caught napping. They were still in that hangover of the Asian Cup victory, the Asia Cup. They won the final. They lost the first one. They beat pretty much everyone along the way. And I think they turned up to the game today thinking it's an easy game. It's Namibia. We have almost qualified for the next round. They took them lightly. That's what I think. Yes, their fielding was pretty good. However, they could have played better.
But it sets up the tournament pretty fantastically, right? Like who do Sri Lanka end up with?
Well, speaking of upsets and rivalries, this does set Sri Lanka up to potentially finish second in their group, and that means they'll be drawn against Bangladesh. And guys, you know what that means? Nagin dance. This wasn't looking like a possibility before.
Well.
But we might have more Nagin dancing, and this time maybe at the MCG. So brace yourselves.
I know.
Well, that also, if Sri Lanka end up in that group, you're going to have to see more of Sri Lanka versus Pakistan, Sri Lanka versus India, Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh. Haven't we seen the Asian teams just play each other so much?
I think it's different.
That too in neutral conditions?
Yeah. Well, I think the conditions were suited more to Pakistan because they played the most in UAE, although it was actually a home tournament for Sri Lanka, because they couldn't host it in Sri Lanka. But in saying that, the Australian conditions are neutral to everyone. If anything, India has the edge because India has played a lot in Australia in the last few years.
Ooh.
And if you look at guys like Rishabh Pant, Virat Kohli, Hardik Pandya, they've had a good, successful track record in Australia in the last few years. So I know one of their bowlers, I can't remember who, Pakistan's bowler said, MCG is my home ground, so, I will be up for the challenge against India. That means nothing on the day. It's a big game. It's not a BBL game. It's India-Pakistan.
Yeah, but you know what? In Australia, with the sort of bowling attack that Pakistan have, I'm worried right now. I mean, I'm just looking at their squad. Shaheen Shah Afridi, okay, not the bowler he was a couple of years ago, coming back from injury, but Shaheen Shah Afridi. They've got, Haris Rauf, Naseem Shah. They've got Mohammad Hasnain. There's serious pace in this team. And on those Australian
got
pitches,
smashed.
they can cause us a lot of trouble.
If
That's a big if. Shivank and I will find out next week.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll give you
yeah.
live coverage straight from the stadium. But hey, the other thing is, even though Pakistan have fast bowlers, they are absolutely rubbish in the field. And if you look back, even a couple of weeks ago, nothing on display can prove me otherwise right now. And look, you bowl 145 clicks at Surya Kumar Yadav, he's going to toy with the field. So it's going to be fun to watch.
Oh, it's going to be tremendous entertainment. I think we're going to see Pakistan doing their best to win the game while doing their best to lose the game, and it's that sort of unstoppable force meets the immovable object. The top class bowling versus the inept fielding. Which one's going to give? And that's what you're really betting on. You're not betting on whether India are going to show up. We know India are going to show up, but Pakistan are like the MCG pitch. You don't know which one you're going to get on the day.
There is one good thing about this game from an Indian perspective. Because Pakistan beat India last year in the World Cup, we have pressures actually on Pakistan this time to actually win it again.
Wait, so we're going with the fact that because we've been useless against Pakistan the last couple of times, bit of reverse psychology, the pressure's on them now because they're the favorites.
That's like a throwback to the 90s.
But in saying that, I'll ask you guys a question. What's worse, 36 all out or 152 for no loss?
36 all out.
There you go.
Because at least we scored 151. The batters still did something, right? 152 for no loss goes on the ball. 36 all out is just inexcusable.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And look, you know what? That is one of the reasons why I'm not discounting Pakistan in this tournament. Because if there's any team out there that can pull out, that can be useless for 16 overs, but pull out 4 overs of magic, it's Pakistan. And it's
it is
in a format that actually rewards teams that can just do well over a short period of time.
Yeah.
Because how useless can you be, really, other than
just trying to double jinx Pakistan? Yeah.
I'm doing my best. I'm trying to put the commentator's curse on them.
Increasing the pressure, right? Like, they won last year. They're the form team going in. They have all the attributes for the Australian pitch. It's all on Pakistan.
Yeah, they're sucky, but they're not that sucky.
Wait till I start talking up Australia.
Ooh, Cam Green.
Cam Green. He's got the rub of the green.
Here's okay. In that case, here's another stat for you guys. Nobody has been able to defend the World Cup T20 championship since it started.
Yeah, actually, nobody's won it twice. So this makes New Zealand hot favorites.
Yeah. So no one has been able to defend it once they've won it. So we could potentially have a new winner this year.
Nagin dance.
Okay, not that optimistic about it.
I think you would put potentially, West Indies started with a lot of big performers, right? You'd have probably put them in there with a shot last year, but now they're in the qualifying group. And what's going on with the West Indies?
Contracts, money,
missed flights,
franchise cricket, missed flights.
Oh, there's a story and a half for Shimron Hetmeyer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Apparently, he not only missed his first flight, he missed his rebooked flight as well.
Yeah, there's rumors swirling around. I don't know how true they are regarding tough situation at home, which is the reason behind it with him. So
he's got personal issues. Yeah, I've read that report myself.
Yeah, I saw that. So there's more to the story than just actually missing the flight.
Yeah. But, with West Indies, it's if they had everyone who is eligible to play for West Indies turn up, they would be, I guess, they would be up there in the top favorites, right? You'd have to count them.
Actually, what's the West Indies team now? Like, I've lost track.
Well, they don't have Chris Gill for the first time.
They've got so many power hitters. Yeah, exactly. They've lost both Brathwaite's as well now. Jason Holder is no longer captain. Shimron Hetmeyer is not playing, obviously. So, who's playing? Sheldon Cottrell doesn't play anymore.
He's in the squad.
Nicholas Pooran is playing.
Sheldon Cottrell's in the squad. They've got Obed McCoy. They've got Jason Holder, Nicholas Pooran, and Rovman Powell. Those are the biggest names in there, I'd say. But look, the issue with the West Indies has never been a lack of talent. It's been administration, it's been professionalism, it's been contracts.
Yeah.
There's been a number of reasons why the West Indies don't perform at the level that they should in the shorter form of the game. And of course, there's in the longer form, they've got other issues with some of their top athletic talents being poached by the likes of basketball and athletics and so on. So unfortunately, it's a pretty shallow talent pool. What they are producing is talented, but they're often the search of, and you can't blame them. They're searching for a better life for themselves and financial security by going and playing franchise leagues. And if West Indies cricket can't support them and can't give them what they're worth, then you can't blame the players for not then turning up.
Yeah.
So again, with West Indies, you never know what they'll do at the tournament.
Yeah, but I personally won't rate them this year. They are a great team, but I don't think they have the team to actually take it right to the end. So for me, they're not one of the hot favorites this year. That's just my.
I'm not sure if I mentioned him, but Alzari Joseph is the other one.
Is there a chance they even miss qualifying for the top 12? Super 12?
I don't think so, personally. Yeah. I think they're good enough to get through.
Yeah.
But then I think that's the end of the road. They might be beneficial in causing a couple of upsets or messing with the net run rate just enough that it aids one team or another. But that's as far as I rate them.
Actually, I disagree. I think that they're in a pretty strong group there with Ireland, Scotland, and Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And you can't put it past them to lose two of those games.
I was going to say that. And Zimbabwe has been actually,
but you still fancy them for qualifying second?
No, if they lose two games, then they...
No, not fancy.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance they'll lose one, and there's a slim chance, but a non-zero chance that they could lose two, and I would be picking Ireland and Zimbabwe to be the teams to do it to them. But Scotland are no hacks either.
So for the wrong reasons, West Indies is the team to watch out for.
Yeah. Hey, look, was it at the 2019 World Cup that they only just scraped in, right? They had to play the qualifiers for the 2019 One Day World Cup, and they just scraped in. And I think it was the last wicket victory over one of either Scotland or the like that got them in there.
So then that's the qualifying groups. So what are we looking at in the Super 12? What are you guys looking forward to in the Super 12? What are you not looking forward to in the Super 12? Shivank?
I'll start off with the things I'm not looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to any discussions about spirit of the game. Mankad is a run out. End of discussion. I do not want any English player on their high horse complaining about the Mankad. It's out now. That's where we'll draw the line.
It's a run out.
Continuing it's a run out, basically.
It's a run out.
But you know what we should do? What we should do, because now we've got a specific kind of run out that's got a name, right? It's called a Mankad. We should start like the name ends in stadiums. We should start doing that to different types of dismissals. So if you lose your middle stump, that's called a Dale Steyn. If you lose your off stump, that's called a Glenn McGrath. And we just go from there. We just name everything. If you get given out caught when the ball bounced in front of the fielder, it's called a ponting.
If you get caught at first slip, is that a Stuart Broad?
And not given out?
Yeah, but and not given out. And look, other than that, Mankads aside, I am genuinely not looking forward to death by 1,000 off-cutters. Please, these are fast pitches. Do not resort to off-cutters as your prime bowling mechanism.
Harshal Patel would like a word.
More... Yeah, I would like a word with that guy.
Okay. So if today's game was anything to go by, and when that guy, I can't remember his name, he picked up 2 wickets, almost got a hat trick against Sri Lanka. He was banging the ball right on good lengths, and that's where the ball is doing the most of the talking. So if anything to go by from this game, I think that's the length in Australia. It's not about the pace; it's about the line and length. Yeah.
Line and length, for sure. Sure. Last thing I'm not looking forward to, and I think this group will appreciate it, is no more boundary counts, please. No more boundary counts.
That's gone. That rule's gone now, I think.
What is the official tiebreaker then? What is the official tiebreaker?
Split the trophy in half, give it to 2 countries.
No, actually, that's Shivank's version. The actual version is...
They keep replaying the Super Over, right?
That's it.
So there's a possibility, triple super over.
That's not the worst
Jeez,
idea,
that
though.
would
I
be
mean,
some-
eventually you're going to have
That's
a
not a worst
split,
idea,
right?
yeah.
You're not going to have teams tie
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
And maybe what they do is you can't have the same pair batting in the second super over as you had in the first super
Yes.
over. So eventually,
For super over.
And maybe even the same bowlers.
yeah,
Bowler,
exactly. So eventually you've got the batters bowling to the bowlers.
It's like when the goalkeeper steps up to take the penalty.
I have another idea. If it's India-Pakistan final and it's a super over, maybe have a kabaddi match. That's one way to decide it.
Ooh, can we get Stephen McIver to commentate then? He knows the sport.
What are you looking forward to, other than Melbourne next week?
That's exactly what I'm going to say. This time next week, bring on MCG.
That's it.
100,000 people, India versus Pakistan.
That's going to be a hell of an atmosphere. That's going to be a hell of an atmosphere. Bhavesh, what are you looking forward to in this kind of 2020 World Cup? 2022.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nagin dance. I'm sorry, it's just awesome to watch like 5'5" grown men just going out there and doing a little bit of this. Some of them aren't even wearing tops. Like they just run out on the field. It's great. Look, great for the game. May not be great for my eyes, but in all seriousness, I think
whatever brings in the viewers
for the game, right, Bhavesh? It's great exposure for the game.
I think I'm looking forward to this potentially being the tournament where the T20 World Cup takes primacy over the One Day World Cup. We've discussed it on this podcast before that the one day is, are they losing context? Are they dying? We just saw a T20 tri-series occur in New Zealand, right? Which I think was a great idea. I think that it provides context to T20s. It takes us away from bilaterals and having more T20 tournaments. I think the build-up and the excitement and the preparation that's going in ahead of the T20 World Cup now is equivalent to the sort of preparation that goes in ahead of an ODI World Cup. This tournament, if it goes well, if we have a couple of blockbuster games, and looking at that draw, I think we're going to have a few of them, has the potential now to mark a turning point in limited overs history. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Much like Shivank, not looking forward to, I think I might just change the channel and Harshal Patel is bowling if he makes good on his promise of 24 slow balls. Jesus Christ. I mean, and the other one is I don't look forward to this during a T20 or any limited overs game nowadays is when they bring the ropes in. You've got a big ground. You've got a 100-meter boundary. Use it. I mean, if you're going to measure the six and tell me it's 106 meters, then why do you have to have the ropes in? If the guys run 4 and it's all along the ground, great. You've got big grounds. Use them. One of the beauties of cricket is the different dimensions of the grounds you play at. Standardizing it is taking a little bit away from the game, I feel. And, it's never nice to see, it's a huge 6 and like he's landed the ball 20 meters in from the hoardings. It's just like, no, you're kidding yourself. That was maybe a 4 at best.
Yeah, bring back those 75, 80-meter boundaries.
It brings in tactics as well, right? Like with the bigger grounds, you suddenly have like bigger gaps between fielders if they're back on the boundary. It just changes the tactics. It changes your approach to batting, changes your approach to fielding placements. It changes the tactics so that not every game is played exactly the same, and the tactics aren't exactly the same.
If you're a quick bowler, it actually brings the bouncer back into play as well, because you could put 2 men out there on the hook. Right now with the 60-meter boundary, you're going, is the short ball really an option? Maybe not, because if it takes the top edge, it's going to go for 6.
Top edge flies for 6.
But you've got a long boundary. All of a sudden, you've got a catching chance here. So it increases your wicket-taking opportunities with aggressive bowling and aggressive field placements.
And with the risk of still conceding.
Yeah, so I mean, just seriously harden up. Put the boundary ropes back. Like, this isn't junior cricket.
It's put your big boy pants on, ICC.
Exactly. Get off the depends.
To be fair, the bigger boundary thing, I think, applies to both forms of the game. Like even the women's game and the men's game. Like everybody's smacking them 75, 80 meters. So why have the boundary at 70? Push them back. Make it more entertaining for the viewers. Like,
Yeah, make those margins a bit tighter in terms
Yeah.
of like, did I clear this enough, or is
Yeah.
it going to just fall in for a catch rain?
It also means that T20 becomes a little bit less of a shooting gallery. Because sometimes when I watch
Yeah.
the IPL, I go, well, these guys are just teeing off and they have to kind of half hit it and it's going to go for 6 because of the quality of the bats.
Yeah.
So that's fine. You got a postage stamp ground. That's the game today. But if you're on a bigger ground, it doesn't have to be a shooting gallery, you know? And like you said, it
Yeah.
changes the tactics a little bit.
And also down with the patriarchy.
Yeah, down with the patriarchy. We're bowlerific up here.
Bhavesh has been a lifelong member of that club.
Yeah.
Sid, what are your viewpoints? What are you looking forward to 2022 World Cup?
Close games, number one. I hate the one-sided games. Always have, always will. Melbourne next week. I think this time the match would have started half an hour into the game already.
Yep, half an hour into the game.
Pakistan 5 wickets down, 18 for 5 in about 6 overs, hopefully. I am looking forward to Shaheen Shah Afridi with a stat of 4 overs, 50 runs, no wickets. You know, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
I have a feeling Indian batters, but that's the right word these days, have worked since last year on Shaheen Shah Afridi. They're not going to just let him come and rip the top order this year. They were caught short last year. It's not going to happen this year. What else I'm looking forward to? The semi-finals. That's what I'm looking forward to, because that's where things get very
Super 12. See who gets out.
Yeah. We'll have another discussion on this one in, halfway through the tournament. Who does look like to get to the top 4?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm looking forward to. What I'm not looking forward to is, again, one-sided games, as I said, because that makes the tournament very boring. But what Namibia has done today, I think there will be less one-sided games because now everyone's will have to just lift their game. And what I'm not looking forward to is English complaining about the rules and spirit of cricket again. That's not what I'm looking forward to.
I think they might even just complain just randomly about the spirit of the game. It's like, Pant walked out onto the field. That's the spirit of the game. He should not have stepped onto the
So full disclosure, right? So Ali and I, we hung out today. Kids hung out. They're all under the age of 6. And I think we still heard less squabbling about rules from them over the course of a couple of hours than we have from the English about monketing. All I'm saying is
about a legitimate run out.
Exactly.
That's the thing. English and rules. And MCC, they came out next day after that dismissal in that final against India, England. They said it was fine. The batter was out of the crease. So in all fairness, it was a fair dismissal. But no, where is the spirit of the game? Well, there's no. I went to Whitcoll's looking for a book called Spirit of the Game. I couldn't find one.
One of the big things I am hoping for this World Cup is that the coin toss doesn't become the deciding factor of matches. I'm really hoping that we get some evenness in terms of you just win the toss, bat first, and that's your win. Basically, team batting first gets it. I hope that doesn't happen. Thoughts, Shivank?
Yeah. Look, there's two things to it. The first thing is, unlike the subcontinent, there's no due factor that comes into play here. So it's not like chasing is miles like exceptionally easier compared to scoring first. But also, if you look at some of the grounds like MCG, the winning percentage of teams batting first versus batting second is exactly 50-50. So, it does feel like it's going to be a very even tournament that's going to be decided by bat and ball instead of, and fielding, of course, especially in Pakistan's case, and less so by a coin toss. But yeah, look, it has become annoying, especially in the subcontinent, wherein whoever wins the toss basically says, no, we're going to bowl first, and then the game becomes pointless. I'm actually happy that that's not going to happen this time.
Yeah, and that's along with that, what's actually going to keep it interesting is there are some rivalries built into the Super 12 groups as well. And I think, in the first Super 12 group, you have England, Australia, New Zealand kind of in there. You think there'll be some great intensity in those matches, and obviously there's going to be a lot of talk in that, and whoever else gets thrown in there mix in. But I'm actually looking forward to Afghanistan, having developed some more, seeing what else they kind of have to offer, how they've kind of grown as well, and seeing if they can kind of just get a scalp in the Super 12.
I think it's going to be hard for them this time around. I think a lot of the stalwarts of the first couple of campaigns have retired, or they're turning around to be over the hill. Rashid Khan, of course, is a force with both the bat and the ball in T20, so he's their main hope as far as I can see. Just having a look at their squad now to see who they actually have. I mean, Mohammad Nabi's still around, but he's 37 years old. He's definitely getting on. They don't really have too many other guys, and it could be my own ignorance, that I'm looking at going, these are match winners.
But that creates the opportunity, like having a great World Cup, and some of the minnows in particular, the ones that do get out of the qualifying group, and if they get into Super 12 and have a couple of great exceptional performances, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at, hey, can I get a big contract in the IPL or a BBL or one of the many T20 leagues around the world? Can I get into that circuit and kind of get in some of those teams? Because let's face it, the money isn't that big to be part of the Afghanistan Cricket Association or, Ireland, Scotland, Namibia. The money is in playing for the franchises in IPL. And you can play for multiple. That can really increase a player's earnings.
See, it's fine. Minnow coming through to the top, going through to the next round. The only issue I have with these kind of qualifications is they might have beaten a strong team on the day, but then a lot of the other games become one-sided. You kind of know who's going to win the game. So for me, if it's a matter of top four, I'd rather have the four strong teams in the semi-final compared to a minnow qualifying for a semi-final spot, because then that just ruins the whole game experience, if you know what I mean. It's good on one day, but then they may not have the same level of performance in another game.
But if they say, to get out of the Super 12, you're going to have to win, say, what, like 3 games, 4 games?
At least. Well, it depends. Depends.
Yeah,
Let's say India beat Pakistan, Pakistan beat South Africa, then South Africa beat India. It opens up the group completely, So then you're relying on other results to actually go through to the next stage.
For the minnows, as long as they don't maybe squander the chance like Kenya did with the 2003 World Cup, it is better for the game overall if we do get a minnow getting to that point, and to Ali's point as well. In order to get there, unless you've got one of those round robin, chain of losses like you just described, it, those guys have to outperform by a big margin and do it consistently to make the semifinals. So when they get there, they deserve their place. And if the semifinal happens to be a blowout, that's fine. But what a great story that you've got this unheralded team that makes it so far.
Be it.
And looking back, the 2002 World Cup is actually looked upon quite fondly by a lot of neutral fans because of the number of upsets and the story of Senegal and the story of, like I said, Turkey and South Korea and so on.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
And also one of the points you mentioned there, Bhavesh, the example you used of the 2002 World Cup was that, Turkey and South Korea in the semifinals, everyone was like, well, that's an easy win for Brazil and an easy win for Germany. But it wasn't. It was actually on the balance. It was on the edge. Brazil were very they played well, but they did get lucky a little bit to get past Turkey in that.
It would depend, as to Bhavesh's point, who has the best 4 overs in that semi-final. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking at the Super 12 and looking at the teams that have so far qualified for the Super 12, because there's no guarantees. So we're pretty much thinking the semi-finalists are going to come from the 8 teams that have already qualified for the Super 12. Correct? Who's everyone's pick? Like, who does everyone think is the standout so far from each Group 1 and Group 2? And who do we kind of see going the furthest? Sid, do you want to kick us off?
I'll pick the 4 teams for the semi-finals. Australia, South Africa, India, and possibly England. There you go.
Ooh, you even picked the fixtures. Okay. Should we write these down so we can come revisit?
Yep.
All right. Bhavesh?
Pretty similar to Sid. I'd say Australia and England to qualify from their group. South Africa and I'm not sure, honestly, between India and Pakistan. I really don't know. And look, guys, at the end of the day, there's also Nagin dance. So the thing is that in that group, especially now with Sri Lanka's loss, there are actually going to be a number of potential banana peels there. Because Sri Lanka on their day can beat any of those teams too. So Group 2 is really difficult to call because it really depends on who loses to whom on the day. And what that it's going to be a complex equation in that. And I think a couple of those, I think second spot is going to come down to net run rate in that one. Just because of how close it is. I think Group 1 looks a little bit more straightforward. Because I think you can look at those and say on form, Australia will beat everybody, England will beat everybody but New Zealand, and so on. And if you want a winner, I think Australia is going to defend their title. They're at home. They've got a very strong squad. They bat deep. They've got Cam Green. Sorry,
you still haven't picked the 4th team. You still haven't picked the 4th team for the semi-final.
No, I did. Well, I said one of India or Pakistan because I think it's going to come down to net run rate. It may not even come down to the head-to-head. It may just come down to that.
One.
Oh, look, I want India to go through, but I'm quite afraid of Pakistan. Yeah. Just looking at that. Well, I mean, looking at the way and they have a template that works for them that can actually get them consistent results as well if they can catch the ball.
Yeah.
Which is they bat, it's the old Indian template, right? They bat slowly at the start, they build their runs, they accumulate, and then they sort of launch near the end. And they usually come up with a decent score, 150 to 160. And you can sort of back Pakistan to get a decent score on the board with their batters. And then it's a question of how well are they going to bowl? And how well are they going to catch?
Does Bumrah's absence
that affects India?
Does Bumrah's absence swing this in?
Yeah, and
Pakistan
I think that losing Bumrah and Jadeja.
Bumrah and Jaddu.
Yeah, Jadeja,
you've lost 6 players because of that.
Yep.
Sorry, I think you've lost actually 4 to 5 players just in losing Jadeja and Bumrah because of what they bring to the setup. You've lost one of the world's best fielders. You've lost one of the world's best left-arm spinners. You've lost one of the world's best lower-order batters. You've lost a leader in the dressing room. You've lost the leader of the pace attack. You've got someone who can bowl those 4 good overs that Sid was talking about. You just think about the sheer impact of the loss of those 2, and they're really irreplaceable in this setup. And it's going to take, I think, a big tournament from Hardik Pandya and Suryakumar Yadav to make up for the loss of these guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jadeja alone can field for all of Pakistan and still be more effective. Sorry, I just have to take these pot shots.
Who is your 4? Who is your semi-final?
Okay, so I'm going to deviate slightly from the rest of the group here. I think India and South Africa will make it through. Order, not going to bother with it. Australia, I think look, they're very good. They're very balanced. They'll go through. But I don't know which version of England will show up. Like, I genuinely do not know which version will show up. And therefore, I am much more confident in New Zealand's tried and tested approach, taking them through further than England. I know it's a big call. But yeah, look, I've seen enough of England in the last 6-8 months, and I'm still confused. Like, are they a good team? Are they a bad team? Are they a terrible team? Are they like post IPL? I said I think England's going to win the T20 World Cup because of the sheer absurdity of batting talent that they have at their disposal, and then the rumors that Jofra Archer might be fit in time. And now,
but you know what's going to be interesting is the England versus New Zealand game. That's going to be the spirit of cricket derby right there. Like you'll have dudes that haven't even linked it. It's going to be walking. You have guys that have taken it cleanly, going, "No, I didn't catch it." Like you're just going to have people refusing to play the game to its rules because of the spirit of cricket, and that's going to be really interesting to watch. It's going to be so confusing. Like if you've got any friends who don't understand cricket or don't watch cricket, don't let them watch England versus New Zealand. They will walk away more confused.
I really hope the stump mic picks up some thank yous and please excuse me, please.
Yeah.
You never know. They might ask the batsman, "Hey, was that too high? Should I go for a referral here?"
No, don't be too hard on yourself. You're all good.
I am actually going to throw a little bit in terms of my Super 12 and my semi-finalist, and this might be a little bit left field and a little bit non-popularist, but I know Australia's at home. Just to deviate away from popular opinion, I am going to go England, New Zealand to get out of the group.
Ali, are you okay?
I know Australia's at home.
Are you feeling all right?
I know Australia's at home.
And you know they have
Have you drunk enough water today? I think you're dehydrated, bro. Have you had enough to drink? Or have you had too much to drink? I'm not too sure.
Australia always very strong at home, but I have a funny feeling that New Zealand and England are somehow going to find some consistency because of their inconsistency. You know, the pressure's all on Australia, right? Like they've won so much at home that the pressure's really going to build on them. Just like Pakistan's going to have that pressure.
Are you applying my Pakistan argument to England and New Zealand? This is the worst case of stealing someone's homework that I've ever seen.
No. I'm applying Pakistan's example to Australia because Australia wins so much at home that pressure will be on them to outperform England and New Zealand.
Dude, New Zealand just lost to Pakistan at home twice.
Sure that's okay. That's because exactly how Bhavesh said. Pakistan's a good team, right?
But also New Zealand's not at home.
I'm worried about Chile. But you know what? Okay, here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. New Zealand thought that they would play down in Christchurch, which is still pretty cold. You know, they just had a snowfall. They thought they'd play in Christchurch. Pakistan would be completely out of their element. But they forgot that Pakistan can't even catch a cold.
My man. Oh boy. All right.
I am sticking with popular opinion on Group 2, though. I think India and South Africa for to get out of that one.
I think as much praise as we give Pakistan, South Africa's bowling lineup deserves just as much praise. They've got Marco Jansen, they've got KG Rabada.
I think they are the dark horse. They are the dark horse this year for me, definitely.
Yeah, but South Africa never figure it out for a World Cup, right? Like they're like the anti-Germany at like football World Cups. They're the exact opposite. Every time a World Cup rolls around, South Africa get to a semi-final and then decide to shoot themselves.
I mean, look, if things go to form, if New Zealand sneak in as number 2 in Group 1 and South Africa win Group 2.
Oh, look at that. I got them thinking. I got them thinking now about New Zealand.
Australia would be number 1. And I'm just thinking that if South Africa fail to make it through that semi-final, potentially against New Zealand, I think they'll just have to close down the country. I think that'll be too much trauma for them to take.
Yeah, fair enough.
Mark Boucher's basically just resigned as well, so they're coming into the tournament without a coach and without a contingency plan for a coach.
Coach does nothing anyway.
So then we're going Nagin dance and India for the semifinals.
Nagin dance all the way, bro.
Ali, pull a sickie tomorrow, bro. Stay home.
I think he's been under a lot of stress.
Yeah,
I'm actually worried about you right now, bro.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Before I make any other crazier predictions, I think we should probably end the podcast there.
Yeah.
And that is where we will call time. Thank you, Shivank, Sid, and Bhavesh. Good job on winning your qualifier there, Bhavesh, and making it in for Kevin. Well deserved, I think. Sometimes we do let the minnows in, you know. For our listeners, if you want to get sports nerdy with the team, you can reach us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at the Backpass Pod. We'll be back next week with more crazy predictions, more sports analysis and banter right here on the Backpass. Thank you for joining us.
From the MCG.